If you just join us, hello and welcome. It's nice to have you all here in this first Friday of spring. I hope you are enjoying the weather. Today we are presenting Modernize Your IT Practice with an Agile Approach, with an amazing talent of ICT Agile, Jackie Owino. Before to jump in with the webinar, let me introduce briefly our company, ICT Agile. We are a full Agile solutions firm located in RTP, North Carolina. ICT Agile was founded in 2016 by Camille Spru, a visionary. We're all about Atlassian services, business agility, and Agile solutions. Since today we are going to talk about Jira Service Management, I would like to highlight the power of Atlassian tools. As some of you are aware, we are Atlassian Silver Partner Solution. So it means that either you need a consulting or you are dealing with a project or you need some kind of support or just looking for a license, we can help. We offer a range of accredited services, apps, integrations, and customized solutions for your business. Jira Service Management is just one of them, but you can see in your screen all the tools that we can provide help. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach us or visit our webpage, ictagile.com. And with that, I'm going to pass the lead to my colleague, Alex Gay.
Thank you, Maria. Hello, everyone. As she said, we're here at our webinar, Modernize Your IT Practices with an Agile Approach. And I promise we are going to bring Jackie out to talk to you in just a minute. But before we can get started, we have a couple of items. The first is I'm going to set up this poll. We'd like to learn a little bit more about you, partially so we know how we know who we're talking to, and also so that Jackie can have a better understanding of where you guys are, especially regarding JSM. Oh, are we having, can you guys see the poll? Okay. So I'll give you a minute to fill that out. And our next item will, of course, be reviewing some case studies so you guys have some context for what we're talking about here today. Okay, just a few more seconds in case we have any stragglers. All right, I'm going to close out the poll and we'll take a look at the results. So thank you guys so much for filling it out. It looks like we've got a range of things, but for the most part, it's little to no familiar with JSM. So that's good to know, and we can make sure that this webinar is focused towards you. And now we can move on. Yes, thank you, Maria. So as I had mentioned, we are going to go over a few case studies with you to give you some context for this, some of which are about organizations that may not be the first example you think of when you're thinking of Atlassian products. Presenting those will be, of course, myself and then two of our other team members, Chloe Henderson and Lacey Blankenship. So as I said, some of them will maybe not be the stereotypical Atlassian user, and first on this list is the Yale School of Management. So the Yale School of Management had some plans to expand to a more global audience, and so needed to be able to have a system that worked for students and faculty who were global, but their initial system setup was just not sufficient. So we're going to break down more specifically how they went about solving this problem. So as I said, their systems just weren't quite up to snuff. They didn't have transparency and visibility into their tasks. They had trouble managing statuses and key metrics, and didn't have a shared knowledge base for their internal or external communities. It made it very difficult to operate. So after doing some research, they found that Atlassian was a good product to try. So once they started, they went with Confluence, which gave them a knowledge base that let all of their internal, external users interact and have a shared source. They used Jira Service Management, JSM, to enable their IT teams to track requests and reduce times. And then they used Jira software for their DevOps team so that they could track service requests and respond to them in a timely manner. As I said, this is a success story. So for them, it worked out really well. Maria, can you go back just a tad? Thank you. Sorry about that. They had an overall service team time resolution reduction of 57% and an average response time reduction for their student requests of 66%. And it in fact worked out so well that this unusual Atlassian user caught on to other parts of the business school. Their BizOps and communications departments also decided to use Atlassian. So if you're not sure if it's right for you because you're maybe not like a development company, maybe still give it a look because it's a very versatile tool. So now we can move on to the next case study. And I'm going to just quickly introduce Chloe. So welcome, Chloe.
Thank you, Alex. Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe. Sorry to make you all hungry with this pizza right in front of us today. But I'm just going to give you a little background on Domino's and their success with Atlassian. So at the start of COVID, Domino's was struggling to continue their business since over 100,000 restaurants unfortunately had to close during the time. But luckily, they were able to look through to JSM to get some guidance during this. So since customers can order pizza through various platforms, including Domino's phone app, Facebook, Twitter, Alexa, the Domino's website, and more, they needed a platform that had seamless experience. So some of their challenges, because of these various ordering platforms, the security between the DevOps team used to be an issue because everyone wasn't on the same page all the time. So the team would spend hours determining the security requirements for their projects since this was a clear barrier. So fortunately, the team needed a faster, easier way to participate in the DevOps, so they looked to Confluence and JSM. They realized they could use Atlassian tools to connect with developers and streamline their DevOps process. JSM was also used to track and manage tickets, making the once complicated process very simple. So as a result, by standardizing on Atlassian products, Domino's was able to save $100,000 annually. They reduced their risk by 75%, and they highlighted their business value to management. And most importantly, they saved time. So the team used to require more than 20 hours of meetings and review, which now only takes them minutes, which is great. So overall, the Atlassian products that Domino's implemented helps the company deliver more pizza faster than ever before, as their Senior Application Security Manager, Michael Shepard, states below. And our next case study will be presented by Lacey.
Hi everyone, I'm Lacey. Now that pizza's on all of our minds, I'm going to talk a little bit about Twitter's success with Atlassian. I think we can all agree Twitter's popularity and growth happened exponentially. Around 2013, the company grew from 900 to 3,600 employees, and that was just within 2 years. Twitter's small internal IT team was swamped with the amount of requests they got throughout this period of growth. They had to handle approximately 2,000 tickets per agent in 2013 alone. At that time, Twitter was using email for internal service requests with no easy way to track, manage, organize, or route requests to particular agents. They looked to Atlassian for an intuitive solution. So let's break this down a little bit. With Twitter's quick growth, the small IT team was challenged by the vast amount of service requests when using email, and they struggled with the efficiency of it. Their solution was to turn to Jira Service Management. JSM provided Twitter with a scalable customer portal solution that integrated with Confluence for a self-service knowledge base. JSM made it so that tickets contained all the right information and were routed to the appropriate agent. 80% of Twitter employees adopted JSM due to its easy-to-use interface, and email support dropped from 95% to 15%. A year later, more than 100 teams, including HR, procurement, and facilities, used JSM at Twitter. This adoption of JSM made it possible for Twitter to reduce email volume by a whopping 80%. Alex Stillings, IT manager at Twitter, once claimed that JSM could really increase teams' efficiency and easily scale your ticketing to meet your business needs. In a world where change is almost constant, having a flexible solution like JSM is a game changer. We hope that these case studies have shown you a few examples of the flexibility of JSM. We want to thank you for listening. It is an honor for me to now introduce Jackie Owino. She is the perfect person to speak about Jira Service Management. She's a principal Atlassian engineer, DevOps solution architect, and has more than 20 years of experience in IT. Jackie's a renowned leader and a coach for organizations adopting agile frameworks and tools. With her extensive knowledge and kind demeanor, we can all learn something from her. If interested, you may connect with Jackie on LinkedIn. Jackie, thank you for your time preparing this presentation. We know that you are so busy and we value your time. I think we're ready to pass it off to you now.
Thank you so much, team, for sharing these wonderful success stories. Just give me a moment while I switch my screen and share. Okay. Happy Friday to everyone. I'd like to thank you for joining us today to learn more about modernizing your IT practices with an agile approach. Clearly, the rise of software-powered services has created great demand for customer expectations across all industries, big and small. To adapt to these rapid changes, IT teams are transforming to provide great user experiences, deliver new services with agility, thereby increasing the flow of work and value to their businesses. Looking at this slide, we see that Atlassian products play a role across the product delivery and support lifecycle. Some of these products are definitely something that you probably worked with, or some are new. IT teams gain the ability to keep up with the speed of the industry and deliver exceptional service with Atlassian products. I love their products because they mirror the company's mission, unleashing the potential of every team. The products create an environment for greater collaboration between teams, especially development and IT, in order to resolve requests and issues quickly. They do this by providing technology backbones with the most critical collaborative workflows. See Agile project planning provided by Jira Align, Jira software, and advanced roadmaps, as well as incident management and response, and last but not least, service management and support. They create a more intuitive and affordable platforms as well. Every company relies on critical services to run their businesses. Some services are behind the firewall, while an increasing number have moved into the cloud. Service outages and downtime have a direct impact on the customers and the company's bottom line. Itil is the most widely recognized framework for IT-enabled services. Itil 4.0 guiding principles are a great place to begin. In fact, we found that they actually mirror very closely to the Agile Manifesto. One of my favorite principles is that you start where you are. Instead of building something from scratch, take a moment to observe and analyze your services, methodologies, people, and tools that you already have. Then use those insights to identify where to start and where to continue, change, or build upon. I personally like to use journey mapping as a tool to define both current and future state. Today, my focus will be on incident management. Incident management is the process of responding to an unplanned event or service interruption in order to restore the service to its operational state. For those incidents that require an emergency response, you may hear IT teams or ITSM practitioners use the term major incident. This is a term that you'll also use as I demo the product. In the next 20 minutes, I will be demoing what feature sets are available in JSM, as well as some other supporting functions to manage incidents. Before I do so, I wanted to also highlight some of the few challenges that IT teams have run into when dealing with incidences. As we look at the initial stage of detecting and actually realizing that something is wrong, there's a difficulty identifying what's most important in the noise of alerts, events, emails, scrambling. It's a little bit chaotic, yeah? There's difficulty managing on-call schedules for multiple teams. And I think over the last year, that has actually increased because a lot of teams are actually working virtually. There are also challenges communicating with stakeholders and customers. People struggle as well effectively collaborating during the incident investigation stage. Lastly, teams struggle with conducting effective post-incident reviews that help retrospect and enable continuous improvement. So I'm just gonna dive in to the tool, but before I do so, I wanted to call out some specific players that I might mention. I just like to align on terminology as we go into the tool and make sure that we are talking the same language. So as a business user, I am the person who's interacting with the system, and that could be internally or externally. I would be the person who would be reporting issues and service disruptions to the IT operations team. Agents in Jira Service Management are really the first line production support. They identify the incidences and escalate major outages that impact the business. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into the tool and demo some of the capabilities. One moment. What I will begin with, I hope you see my screen. Okay, wonderful, thank you. So Jira Service Management is really one of the key applications that Atlassian provide. Most of you are extremely familiar with Jira software, Confluence, and probably Bitbucket. You can see on this screen, as a development or IT, it's extremely easy to switch back and forth from these different platforms. So a lot of teams work in disparate systems and they find themselves, a lot of time wasted logging in, logging out. So this really provides a very streamlined way of actually accessing your work and working on it. From a business user perspective, I'm just gonna show some of the portals that can be available for you to expose to your business users, both internally or externally. This represents Jira Service Management help desk portals. You can see that it's not only highlighted by IT support, you can also have HR self-service desks, facility workplace support, and you can even have people interacting with legal and actually have them putting in requests and using the system. So it actually, you have the possibility of actually running your whole company with the Jira Service Management portals. Now with incident management, I'm gonna dive into the IT operations portal, and I'm gonna simulate being a business user. So at this point, I've gone in and I have detected a problem. I'm trying to, retrieve my bills, but I'm unable to. I'm unable to pay my bills in a web store. And I basically want to go in and report a system problem. So I'm gonna go in. As you can see, I have several things that I can fill in here. And I'm just gonna go in and fill in the description the summary and description. Okay. There are several fields that you can actually customize based on your operations, but one of the items that's really key in driving how people respond is their affected services. So at this point, I'm gonna select the web store as being the affected service. I can also select what is the issue impact, and I'm just gonna do a few things here. And I'm also gonna select the criticality. So you can also customize that as well. I'm then I have the ability to capture an attachment and add it to the actual incident. So I'm gonna hit send. You can see that my incidents has been sent to the IT team. And you can see that I can actually access all the incidents that I've put in and look at their status right here. You can also share this with somebody within your company if you want them to be aware that you actually have entered an incident so that they don't duplicate that incident. So I'm gonna then switch and simulate being an agent, which is a person who's basically the frontline person in the production support team. As I go into Jira Service Management, I go into the IT operations project, and I can see that there's several queues right here. I'm only interested in incidences, but I wanted to say we also support service requests, problems, and changes. So, I know that all organizations might not always use this. So that's something that the organization would define and agree upon on what they define as these specific categories. Now, going into the incident, this is a very busy team. You can see that they have several open incidences. If I click right here, I can also go a little bit further in looking at the open incidences that are ready for triage, okay? You can see that the item I entered right here is top of the list, and I can go in and click on it and open it as an agent. So as an agent, one of my first jobs is really assessing the item and making sure that I am, including all the business teams that might be affected and might be involved in working on this incident. One of the other items that I wanted to call out is you could add additional affected services. So if I said it's not only the web store, it's the customer portal. Now, by doing this, by actually adding affected services, behind the scenes, I am also notifying specific teams that there's an incident that might need their attention. If you have insights or an asset management system that's integrated with Jira Service Management, you can also search for the assets and actually add them in here. So let's just say Open Web Store, I've actually added that. So you have an indication of what assets might be affected by this incident. That's extremely good information historically to understand where there might be a problem in terms of managing the asset as well. So I'm gonna go back into the main portal real quick and talk about a couple of things, especially when managing the services and the on-call schedules. As a production team, it's very important that you can actually identify what's most important and who you need to work with to resolve this issue. Jira Service Management with Ops Genie allows you to define your services. So right here we have services, and they also allow you to define the criticality. So which are the the most critical services within your business. When creating a service, you can actually see that you not only have the ability to select the tier, you can also select an Ops Genie team. Now, we are not going to go into all the, how to set up an Ops Genie team, but I just wanted to show you what the Ops Genie team would look like and how you would actually engage them during an incident. One of the other things is when it comes to change management, you can also select specific change approvers. So in this case, if a specific service needed to be changed or assets that are aligned with that service, you would actually have a set of approvers that are aware that that will need to be changed. So in terms of on-call management and notification, we have two capabilities that Jira Service Management provides. We have the ability to have alerts. And alerts in Ops Genie basically drive who's being notified and how they're being notified. Yeah. So in this case, you can actually see when I created an incident, there was an alert created. And with this alert, there was some notifications that went out. You could also go in and go ahead and link specific incidences. So you can see that several incidences have been actually created. So you could actually link that. So everything is actually linked to a single artifact. You also have the ability to link information that might be, because of a development. When the development team is developing features and they push like an enhancement, they might have actually caused the problem. So you have the ability to look at a team's backlog and search for issues that might have caused the problem. Let's just say the billing service upgrade. One other thing is being able to actually take ownership of this specific alert and actually be able to say, okay, I need to add responders. Now, responders can be a person. Let's just say you have a solution architect called Elena that you want to make sure that she is aware that there's an alert and that you are looking at the incident. So I'm just gonna add that. Slight error with that. But it basically shows the ability to add responders as well as stakeholders within this alert and notification system. Now, one of the main things that we talked about also is managing on-call schedules here. And I'm gonna go ahead. Now, the Ops Genie on-call schedule is very versatile. Yeah. We have the ability to create teams. And right now I just have a single team that I'm using to demonstrate these capabilities. So this is the web store team. You can add a team very easily right here. And I'm gonna click onto the team. With the team, you can actually have the members of the team right here. You can add several members of the team. I'm gonna go back. You can also actually create schedules. Now, every company is gonna be different on how they wanna manage their on-call schedules, yeah. For this particular on-call schedule, I'm gonna go ahead. I have just a single rotation. but you could actually have 2 rotations. If you have a production team that's maybe supporting India and one supporting the US, you could have on-call support for the hours for the US and on-call support for the hours in India. So basically follow the sun model. When it comes to actually understanding the on-call schedule, you can add several members. You can actually choose whether you want them rotating every day, every week, every month. Yeah, you can basically customize that. Okay. Now, one of the things that's really key is you can also override. Like, let's just say Kevin was on call and he fell sick today. So I can actually take on call for an hour when he's gonna be off, or actually override it. So right now, while it's Kevin's week, I'm actually on call right now. And it will actually send me an email to say your on-call rotation is starting now and it will end at this time. So it allows you to customize not only how you want to be alerted or notified of a problem, but also just it actually allows you to manage your calendar a lot more effectively. There are several things that I will not really jump into, but there's ability to do heartbeat monitoring. So you just monitor your applications, and that would be more of preventive or preemptive monitoring. So actually making sure that you might be able to catch an incident before the customer reports it. I'm gonna go back into just managing incidences and during the investigation stage. So I'm gonna go back. Okay, so now that you've looked at the whole setup of notification and alerts, I just wanted to talk about how do you manage escalating an incident from just a normal incident to a major incident. Now, a major incident is something that is basically on all hands on deck. It's basically a very critical incident, and it's an outage. So right now you have the ability to create a major incident right now, and it will, okay, as you click into creating a major incident, you have the ability, it will actually look in and see, do you have any other major incidences in play right now? So if it's something that's really aligned with what you've reported, you can just click that and go into what we call the command center. Now, the command center is a central place to manage communication for a team as they're dealing with the incident. You can see you have a P1 that is an indication of the criticality of the incident. You can see all the impacted services for the incident. You can also see what are the items that may be linked with the incident. So you can see right here, you have billing outage. You could actually link other requests as well. If I open this up, I can see that the upgrade is something that we can actually look in as possibly causing the incident. You have the ability to add responders. These might be individuals that you need to play a role within this investigation. Now, one key item is during an incident, there are several roles that are being played. There are people who are communicating what's happening with the incident. There are people who are just sending out communications. So you can, as a company, you can understand, okay, what are the roles we need to put in place to manage these incidences. So I have communications officer here, and I am going to take the role as an incident commander. A couple of things that you might also be able to do right here is you can add responders as well as stakeholders. Responders are people who are actually going to help you work and resolve the incident, while a stakeholder is somebody who's just wants to be kept abreast of what's happening. Two very important features that Jira Service Management provides is the incident command center, which is conferencing capabilities where you basically can kick off a Zoom or an Ops Genie conference. You can also send updates to different stakeholders. Okay, so in a nutshell, this provides a very powerful platform of not only communicating how to manage an incident, but bring all the right people to work on the incidences. I have a couple more things before we transition to questions here. Okay, this is basically an incident that has been resolved. So you can actually see the timeline of incidences, what happened, what communications was sent out, and then you can actually see what's resolved. You can see from an analysis and SLA perspective, you can see the impact duration and how long it took to resolve the incident. But in terms of actually capturing, you can actually retrospect and talk about what are the things that you need to do to, what you needed to do to either resolve the incident and why it occurred. So at the very end of resolving the incident, you can actually click to create a postmortem, which is something that you would create and store in Confluence. You can see you have a template that has some direction on what you might want to capture in a postmortem. So in a nutshell, you have all the timeline, you have the SLAs, you have any linked incidences, any linked a single platform, and that becomes extremely powerful. One of the other things I wanted to talk about as helping with production is status page. It's something that I did not actually show during the demo, but I wanted to just talk about integration with status page with JSM. Atlassian does this very well in terms of being able to communicate what's happening with their cloud products. So this is basically status page is a way to see what information, if Jira Software Cloud is down, if they're having problems. If I click into Jira Service Management, you'll actually have additional information about different things like is the web operational, is Ops Genie operational, is the purchasing and licensing operations. So it not only takes it from an actual application, it actually goes into the capabilities that you're providing with that application. Okay, I'm gonna give it, gonna transition into the slide real quick. One moment. It's a lot to cover. I want to leave time for questions. So I'm gonna wrap up in 2 minutes, yeah. Clearly, there's a lot I've covered in this section. I've covered, the on-call management. I've covered the alerting, the major incidences. Now, in a nutshell, I just did want to share this slide about the return of investment. Of course, not everyone is going to get a 246% return of investment, but even if you got 25% or 50%, that's really great, yeah. And this is part of transition to use Jira Service Management. improvement in agent productivity or production support, productivity is extremely important in terms of just raising the happiness level of the team and making sure that the highest value is spent in actually resolving their problem, as opposed to searching for documentation or searching for guidance. I wanted to really end on how do you get started, and just talk about a couple of things that you would need to do. Definitely embrace a team-centric approach to ITSM. Yeah, we believe that open teams work better together. So, try and break down the silos and work a little bit closer as a single team, not necessarily production support or development, but basically embrace a one team concept. As I said before, start where you are instead of building from scratch. A few things to also call out is achieving quick wins as you build a minimal viable product. Don't wait to go big bang. Get some small wins and actually start to improve your process. Yeah. And then match the software stack to your maturity needs. Yeah. If you're not extremely mature in your DevOps practices, yeah, then start to actually build those as well. Yeah. Make sure your QA processes are intact and are automated so that you can quickly detect a problem and fix it. Now, when you have all that in place, you can scale your solution. And I would say definitely celebrate success along the way. Now with that, I'm gonna pause and take any questions that we may have. Okay. Okay, we have about.
It seems like we have one, Jackie. Well, first, they say like it was very nice and easy to see how it's shared screenshots when you submit an incident report. I will start with that comment. And there is like a question from Helen. Is there a dashboard or report that shows the overall Jira Service Management data?
Absolutely, and I'm gonna go back and share that. Now, in terms of data, there are definitely several reports, and they're inbuilt here, so I didn't get down to that, but reports and supporting documentation are two things that are extremely important. So we're gonna go ahead and see some reports. There are reports that come out just out of box, and then there are reports that you build, you can build on your own. So we can have the workload reports, satisfaction reports, created versus resolved. Okay. So that, let's see over the past month. So you can look at it during ranges. April, you had 20 created, 13 resolved. So it gives a good picture of what's happening in your teams. You can also have incidences by priority. So you can say, we have 391 low incidences, not so bad, but we had 242, so you can actually go in and look at those incidences, click on them and look at what those are. In this case, I can actually click on this and it will show me all the lists of incidences that I have. One of the things that's extremely important for an incident, a production team, is meeting their SLAs, yeah? So those can be specific with an organization. You can define what those SLAs. So if it's a P1, you want to make sure you get back to the customer in 15 minutes, and then you resolve the issue in 2 hours. So that can be defined within the system. And then you can actually look at what SLAs were met and what were breached. So that is those are some of the reports and dashboards that you can look into.
Good. We have another question. I'm going to read it. Hello, my name is Silavina. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing correctly your name. I'm a student at the Schema Business School in Raleigh. I learned a lot with this presentation. I would like to ask, I still have 1 year before I graduate. Which skills would you say are the most important to learn to be an efficient IT services? That is one question, and then we have another question that maybe, I don't know, do you want me to read it or do you want to hold that for a little bit later?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, let me go ahead and just give some insight. I think Itil is a great place to start, and Itil 4.0, definitely is extremely, it's actually now very cohesive in that it understands that IT teams need to work in a very agile way. So I feel like they actually represent a good platform in which you can start to understand how you can be more involved in being understanding how to support IT services in general. Yeah. I hope that answers your question, but what I'll probably do is maybe reach out after this and maybe, talk to, I can't remember her name, but yeah, I'll probably reach out and we can have a conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. And okay, she says, thank you very much for your answer. From Rob, in addition to the team-centric approach, please speak to how Agile methodology philosophy ties into the Atlassian IT solutions.
Yeah, I think that traditionally, I would say that most IT departments were very cautious about allowing, lots of changes into production. And I think that with agile approaches and DevOps, yeah, we've seen a lot of IT support starting to understand what are the things that they need to put in place, not only from a development stage, but actually being involved earlier in the process. So it's not really, I would say, agility talks about a one team concept. So it's not only waiting until everything goes into production, it's actually working very closely with the development team in understanding what they're doing to, whether it's a new feature or enhancement, being part of that planning process, being part of that architecting process, so that at the end, when you're supporting it, you have full knowledge and you can support it more effectively. That's really what Agile is all about, is working together closely and being able to, I would say, being customer centric, yeah? And what are the things that you can improve in your organization, whether it's collaboration, whether it's tools to get the features out to your customer faster or resolve a problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. We have a few minutes more for one last question. Okay, I don't see anything else coming up, so we can start wrapping up. First, thank you so much for everyone who assisted to this webinar. As Jackie mentioned, we can, your path is unique. And if you need like a customized solution or like a demo that is pretty focused in your particular thing, feel free to reach out to ectagile.com. Thank you so much for being here. Jackie, do you want to say the last words?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Maria, and my team for supporting this webinar. And I'd also like to thank everyone who joined this. You know, I'm really excited about all the enhancements and all the capabilities that Jira Service Management is not only offering right now, but in the future. I think the alignment and building the capabilities to support asset management is key. And I look forward to sharing some of that with the team as we look forward. Feel free to reach out, whether it's an email, through LinkedIn. We would definitely be we're definitely, you know, excited to help you in your journey with using these tools, as well as any business agility improvements. Thank you so much.